All right, man. More practices, more practices, more practices is what everybody's always talking about. You meet somebody in an event, right? What do you ask? How many practices do you have?
Yeah, it's kind of a measuring contest, I guess you could say. I mean, it's something as we've started to work with emerging groups, the questions become, more common, but sometimes you got to think back too and think that, there's still a lot of single practice owners out there who are trying to mull over that decision. And that's probably what is a good conversation for today, Jared, is for those solos out there who are thinking about growing. And I think you have an interesting mindset on it. So like, how do you look at that?
Yeah, well, I agree. I mean, I think what we would just talk about high level is, before you open, let's just say that before you open that second practice, right?
Yeah.
Just high level, try to maximize that first practice first.
Sure.
Right? Before you just, okay, I got my first practice, I've been operating out of it for 5, 6, 7, 10 years, whatever, and I'm doing well, I'm going to go get another practice.
Yeah.
Right? So ask yourself, are you fully optimized in that first practice first? And the reason, and let's talk numbers a little bit because that's what we geek out about.
Yeah.
When you add more operatories, let's say you're plumbed out and you can't add more operatories, or let's say you can bust out a wall and add more operatories that way. I get there's a cost component to that, but just think about all the fixed expenses that you already have in your business, right? You've already got, let's just say you own the building or whatever, you've already got a rent payment or mortgage payment.
Yep.
Right? You've got all this other, you got the team, you got the infrastructure, you got the processes, everything in place. So by adding more ops and making more production, out of that, what does that do? Those fixed expenses should stay pretty close to the same. Yeah, your rent's going to go up and that sort of thing, but you're going to really maximize and optimize what you have, as opposed to think on the flip side, right? Let's say you don't have that practice optimized and you want to go buy another practice.
Yeah.
Well, another practice, and it's different. It's like kids, right? It's different going from one kid to 2 kids. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Totally
sure.
different, right?
Yeah.
Totally different. Like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, where'd the other kid go? I mean, I got two of these things crying at the same time.
Right.
Same thing in practices, right?
Yeah.
Go from 1 practice to 2 practices. Now going from like 5 practices to 6.
Yeah.
I've got 3 kids. I don't have 5. You don't either, but
Right.
5 to 6 is probably a lot easier.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, let's get this first one good before we add that second practice from a financial standpoint.
Kind of carrying on the kid analogy, how many times you hear, man, that first one was super easy, the second was tough, and after that, we're done. People are like, man, what were we thinking having this second kid? Same way with practices too. I think the assumption is that you can just copy and paste it, but you have to be a really good operator to copy and paste results in the second location without you necessarily having to be there all the time. Yeah. And that's kind of one of the things I think people have to realize is, where your attention shines, and what you look at, that's where you see growth. And that could be in the first practice, could be in the second practice, but a lot of times what we see is when the attention's divided, one or the other suffers. And, if you have a good infrastructure, good operations, maybe it can make good sense, but a lot of people just aren't ready for that. Not to mention their practice just isn't good enough to feel like you should be able to go out and duplicate results, because you're duplicating mediocre results. And that's not really the point of growing practices, because just like kids, growing practices will grow your stress. There's no way around it, Jared.
That's 100% right. And go back, we've been talking a lot, I say this week, last week, about simplicity.
Yeah.
Simple versus the complex, right?
Right.
And so really, if you don't have that current practice dialed in yet, right? You don't have, stay on the analogy train. You know, that first kid, you hear this a lot with dogs, right?
Yeah.
We're not getting another dog until we get this one potty trained.
Right.
If you don't have that first practice dialed in financially,
yeah,
but then also from a system standpoint, you've got everything. In any business, you're not going to say, man, I have this, it's simple. Businesses is not simple, but as simple as you can get it, then you can add that second practice and go. Yep. And it's the concept about, bigger. Everybody thinks about growth. What do you normally think about on growth? You normally think about bigger.
Yeah.
We're going to get bigger.
Right.
It's bigger growth. So just take that and flip it a little bit and think about it differently. And when you think about growth, don't think about bigger growth. I understand growth means getting bigger.
Yeah.
Think about better growth.
100%.
Meaning every single dollar more of production, how can you maximize that? How can you get the most out of that? And you're going to be able to do that if you stay in your existing practice. I'm not saying don't grow from a practice standpoint. I'm saying wait to grow until you have that one dialed in, and then you can replicate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a great future series, is when do I feel like I am ready? Because
Probably
that's
what they're asking out there right now.
I would say they probably are. Like, well, when do I know? And I can say there's probably not a one size fits all, but there's certain key indicators that are telling you, and this is both quantitative and qualitative, that not just your numbers, your cash flow, your free cash flow is there to allow you to invest, but also your operations are dialed in enough where you can kind of copy and paste that. So, it's something that I think a lot of people we hear of how many people have we seen that have shed practices, Jared?
Oh yeah. Just had a conversation last week.
100%. These two it wasn't the right time.
That's right.
We moved forward too fast. We didn't think, about what the second order consequences are on this thing. And it affected the whole portfolio, and it's time to shed. You had a conversation last week, so did I. Mm-hmm. So, that's something that is a good way to learn from somebody else's mistakes when you're trying to think this through. Is those folks, they went too fast, and they added complexity in the pursuit of growth without really trying to figure out, can I simplify things down, be more profitable in my existing practice? And that's through process, procedures, systematization, those kind of things. So it's a great lesson to learn from others, for sure.
Yeah, definitely go slow before you grow.
Right.
But grow strategically. Yeah. Make sure you know. And that is what we do. A future video we can talk about is quantitatively and qualitatively, like what needs to be true from our opinion on, before you buy that second practice, what do you need to really have dialed in? Right. But I encourage you, listen to this video is, what can I do to get my first practice, my main practice, my flagship dialed in? What can I do? Am I maximizing every little square inch out of this thing that I can? And I can't grow anymore. It's just impossible, right? We're physically
bursting at the seams. We're booked out hygiene for a year. There's the simple things that you can look at, for sure. It's great advice. It's great advice. I think most practices we see, they still have work to do on their first practice before they would consider that. Again, everybody's journey is different, but that's pretty sage advice, I think, is to focus on this one, get in a good spot, and then you'll be amazed at the free cash flow and the opportunities that arise from that. But don't put the cart ahead of the horse.
Right. So moral of the story, before you have that second baby in regard to dental practice, make sure you get that first one potty trained.
That's it.
Dialed in.
That's it.
I love it, man. Appreciate it.
You got it.